everyone, this is Miss Time Bunny, and today I am getting around to my video response to Razzmatazz Razz. This has been a long time coming, this video, and the question was, do you have something that you watch, listen to, play over again? So I think this is more of an open book, you know, you can pick whatever you fancy. So I might even add in there, like, maybe there's something you read quite like over and over again as well. Let's throw that one in as well. So yes, I have a couple that I could include under this, because it was tricky to pick just one, because I had like a few that came under this, and one of them is the film Now and Then. Now I remember as a kid, I think I must have been about, I was somewhere in my teens, I think. When did this film come out? I can't quite remember offhand now. And because of the light off my thing, it's like made my eyes go a bit weird. But I think this was some point in the 90s. I can't quite remember when offhand. But I remember I saw this at cinema in my teens with the like sort of brother of a friend, someone I was friends with at the time. And it's a film called, yeah, as I said, Now and Then. It's about, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, this one. It was about four women who sort of like reunite after, I think, so many years back in their hometown, because they did this pact when they were 12 to say, like, when one of us needs each other, we're all going to meet up and be there for each other. So basically it's, I think, so many years later, and they've met back up because one of them's pregnant, and she said, look, I really want you guys here because I'm about to pop any second, and it just, I'd like you to be here, sort of thing. And then the film's basically about them sort of being at this pregnant friend's house, and they're all sort of reminiscing about this one particular summer. And like basically then obviously the film then rewinds back, and you see the four women as girls living through this particular summer. And I really like this film, and I've watched this so much, and I really love it, because I remember I got this on, I think, VHS like years ago. And it eventually came out on DVD. And I don't know if this will ever come out on Blu-ray, but I think if it does, I'll totally get it. So I just really love this. I've watched this to death. So that's one. Another film I've watched quite a lot of is Matilda. I know, sort of like, I don't know, there's probably some of you that are going to take the mickey out of me for this, but again, this was another film I think me and my sister watched to death as kids. And it's just like, even though it doesn't strictly stick to the book, and I think, you know, I think if I had to choose on preference, I do prefer the book. But I think this isn't a bad film in its own right, to be fair. You know, it's not perfect. It doesn't stick exactly to the book. I admit that. But I think if you sort of like, if you disconnect it from the Roald Dahl book just for a little while, and you watch it just as a film in its own right, it's actually very enjoyable. So yes, it stars Mara Wilson and Danny DeVito and, oh, what was her name? I've forgotten her blooming name now. Rhea Perlman, that was it. There's also got Pam Ferris in it. But yeah, it's just, I really like it. You know, it's not a bad interpretation. It's not perfect, but it's not like really bad either. You know, I like sort of like how they did it. I know it sort of probably got a little bit Americanised, but it's all right. I think it's just one of those, I have a bit of nostalgia with this, because me and my sister watched it so much, and we must have cost my mum a fortune where she kept hiring it from our local Blockbusters so much. You know, that's going back some. See, I'm proving my age here. Blockbusters still existed at the time. Yeah, I think we pestered my mum to hire it so much that in the end, I think it was like HMV at the time were doing one of their really ridiculously cheap silly sales, and I think the video of this happened to be in the sale for ridiculously cheap. Like, I think it was like only like a couple of quid. So my mum was like, feck it, for the amount I've spent out hiring it, I might as well just pay out the whatever for the video, and then that's it, sort of thing. I know she didn't pay very much. I think it was like under a tenner. You know, and for those of you that know how expensive VHSs used to be, you know, they were like a good, like, they could be like a good 20-30 quid, sometimes more, you know. But I think it was on this occasion, it was like under a tenner, so she thought, you know, I've probably spent more than that hiring it, so But yeah, that's probably another one. I've watched it to death. I don't think I've watched it for a little while, but I will definitely have to watch that again. And I'm probably going to get the mickey out of me, taken out of me for this one, but also I sort of like have the movie versions of On the Buses. I know that, you know, people might go like, oh my god, I can't believe you like On the Buses, like why? It's terrible. And I think that's what I like about it. It's like, yes, you know, looking at it obviously now, it's like, you could argue it's very sexist, misogynistic, things like that, but you've got to remember that obviously it was a thing of its time. So back when these were made, these 3 films, it was like that was people's attitudes. I'm obviously not trying to make excuses or, you know, dismiss the behaviour, but it was just more of I think you have to sort of like sort of bear in mind obviously the context of the time. So, but you know, yes, it's like I do enjoy these movies. You know, I do find them entertaining, but I'm also very aware of the context of them as well. You know, just because I happen to enjoy them doesn't mean I say I agree with some of the attitudes, as it were. I think it's more because I grew up sort of like watching these movies and the TV series with my nan. So I think it's more of again, like a more nostalgic thing. That's why I always repeatedly watch them. So yeah, I mean, yes, by all means tell me off for enjoying them, but it's more, I'm not going to not watch something just because of like certain content, if that makes sense. You know, I'm well aware of, you know, the sort of context, as it were, you know. It's like with probably like old Bugs Bunny films, things like that, you know, you look back at them now and a lot of them are incredibly racist. But again, you have to bear in mind that was just attitudes of the time. You can't like, it's not fair to judge something like this and certain old cartoons and movies against our current sort of attitudes. You know, I think it is a little bit unfair because it's like people thought a lot differently like back then. You know, obviously I'm not saying it's right. I mean, in 50 years' time or 100 years' time, there might be like people who look back at our attitudes and think, oh my god, I can't believe people were that like sexist or whatever, you know. It's probably going to be the same for us eventually. You know, people are going to look back at like movies and TV show and just like our general attitudes and be like, oh my god, I can't believe people used to think like that. So, you know, I think it's more, you kind of have to be a bit more aware, if that makes sense. And there's like others that I can include in like sort of this, like things that I've watched to death. Another film that I was going to include was Mermaids, but it's just, I've put the DVD somewhere and I can't think where it is in there, but that's another film I've watched to absolute death. And also I think, you know, the first episode of Doctor Who when it first came back with Christopher Eccleston. You know, for some reason I just love watching the first episode of that, because it's just, I just like the opening bit when you see Rose Tyler for the first time. You see her having her like a day in the life of sort of thing. You know, I don't know why, I just really like that bit for some really odd reason. I just don't know why. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many things I could include in this. I'd be like here forever. But I just picked them out as an example of just a couple that I've probably just, couple of like films, well, DVDs that I've watched so many times I've lost track. So, but anyway, I'm going to end here. By all means, guys, if any of you want to join us and do your own video response or put something in the comments or whatever, it'd be really, really great to hear your responses to this as well. So, by all means, join in. Please, go on. Don't make me look like a weirdo on my own. And I'm going to end here, and I will see you all again soon. Okay, bye.